The next speaker is Professor Jianghui Geng from APM CAS in Wuhan, China, and the topic is the calibration of all-frequency beta signals and the impact on the reference frame scale. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I have a long title. Does that show here? Okay, got it. So this is a long title of my talk. It's actually about the multi-GNSS, multi-frequency calibration of the satellite antennas. So why is it so important? The scale determination is always the very important thing in the terrestrial reference frame determination. So to date, the space geodetic techniques that can be used to determine the scale of the terrestrial reference frame is only VLBI and SLR. We always want to use the GNSS data to independently calibrate the scale of the terrestrial reference frame. The problem is we need to know precisely and accurately the cell antennas, especially the Z component. But this is not so promising because some of the problems for the receiver and the cell antennas still are known, and the Z component of the cell antennas strongly correlates with the station height and the reference frame scale. So when it comes to the BDS3 satellites, the BDS3 satellites in the IGS-20 antex file is from the Chinese authority, that is the manufacturer values. The problem for this kind of antenna is that they are not aligned with the IGS-20. For example, you can see the comparison from these two figures. That is the comparison between the manufacturer values and the estimated values in orbit. They have some systematic differences, that is about 10 centimeters, which can cause some scale biases of up to 0.7 ppb with respect to the IGS-20 reference frame. So just recently, the IGS has started a calibration campaign that with 8AC solutions. So we have the in-orbit calibrated IGS-20 reference IGS-20 antex file, which is named in the GPS week 2405. So we use the B1C and the B2A satellite signals, and the B1I and B3I signals separately to calibrate the satellite antennas. And we use only these two kinds of the ionosphere-free observations. So some problems with some satellites, that is piecewise constant Z components. So we are going to mention this later on. So after this calibration, we can make sure that the B1C and B2A and B1I and B3I signals can have the consistent scale with respect to the IGS-20 reference frame. So the issue is the BDS3 has 5 signal frequencies. So then how can we have the two kind of ionosphere-free PCO values to be split into the 5 frequency-specific values? So the way the IGS using is to have the B1I and B1C PCO values to fix to the official value released by the manufacturers. And then we can use the ionosphere-free calibration in orbit to have the B2A and the B3 PCOs to be calculated. And then the B2B and the B2 PCOs can be assumed identical to derive the B2A PCO. So this is the way. There is a clear limitation. So what if the arbitrary combinations of the signal frequencies for PPP? For example, we can have the baseline pairs, that is B1C and B2A and B1I and B3I, to have no problem for the scale determination of the reference frame. But what kind of the other arbitrary pairs? For example, the B1C and the B3I and B1I to B2A, and this can be possible candidates for the future PPP solutions. So the goal of this study is to align all of the frequency BDS PCOs with the IGS-20 reference frame, and we need to keep consistency among all of the arbitrary frequency combinations. So the method is very straightforward. We can use the uncombined network analysis. So we have the B1C and the B2A PCOs to be fixed to the IGS in orbit calibrated values, which we got from the antex file 2405, and we can estimate the other the PCOs from for the other frequencies. So because we don't know exactly the value from the individual frequency, that is B1C and the B2A, there may be some biases within this for the PCOs on these two frequencies. Then we will introduce some frequency-dependent biases in blue. That is the blue terms on the right hand on the left-hand side of the equations. So this kind of value depends on the true value that we never know for the PCO on B1C and B2A signals. But fortunately, there's no panic on here, and whenever we use the ionosphere-free model, or even if we use the uncombined model, this kind of biases in blue can be absorbed by the ionosphere parameters or naturally canceled in the formation of the ionosphere-free observables. So in this way, the frequency-specific PCOs can still be compatible among all of the arbitrary frequency combinations. So in order to keep a consistency for our frequency-specific calibration of the PCO with respect to the products, orbit products and clock products from our software, so we split our processing into two steps. The first one is to determine the basic products like the orbits and clocks using the undifferenced ionosphere-free observables, that is L1 and L2, and B1C and B2A. And finally, we use 2 years of data to determine the frequency-specific PCOs for the other frequencies, that is non-baseline frequencies. And we use the stations with all of the ground-calibrated antenna, receive antenna PCOs available. Okay, so this is the result. And we have the Z-component PCO estimates. They are generally stable. We have with very small standard deviation compared to the normal calibration based on the ionosphere-free observables. The IGSO dispersion exceeds those of the MEOs, so very similar phenomenon to those we used some other methods for the in-orbit calibration. Okay, so this is a comparison between our frequency-specific calibrated values and the IGS 2405 anti-X file values. So you can make a comparison between use the right figure. You can see the solid circle, the red dots, and the shaded bars. So generally, they have this very similar tendency. That means there's no large biases between these two kind of values. But you can still see some systematic effect between the two values. That is some kind of offset. And this kind of offset is very clear for the IGSO satellites and for the B3I signals. You can see that is the second panel on the right-hand side. So you see the systematic offset between the two calibrations. Okay, so in the PPP solutions, we need to use ionosphere-free combination observable. So we can see the B19 and the B3I ionosphere-free calibration. They agree very well with our frequency-specific calibration. There is only mean difference about smaller than 1 centimeters. But for the other ionosphere-free combination, which is based on non-baseline frequency pairs, for example, the B1C and the B2B and B19 and B2A, they have very large, clear systematic offset. So in this way, that may introduce the scale biases into when you use this kind of frequency combinations to determine the terrestrial reference frame. So, so we did some PPP tests based on this kind of some other very arbitrary combination of signals. So this is the comparison for 3 set of the PCO values. The leftmost column shows the values from the Chinese authority, that is the CSNO manufacturer's values. So you can see if you use the B1C and the B2A and some other arbitrary combination of observables to determine the scale of the reference frame, and you can see very large biases for the scale. That is the text in blue colors. And if you use the IGS 202405, this kind of calibration released by the IGS, so after we can achieve a very good value for the B1C and B2A, that is 0.05 scale. That is very very close to the IGS 20 reference frame scale. And for B1I and B3I, that is 0.11, that's okay, more or less. But for the B1C and the B3I combination, we have scale bias about 0.27. This is because in the calibration of the IGS values, they don't take this kind of inconsistency into account. But after, so the rightmost column shows the results from our study. We used frequency-specific calibration, and we can see for all of the non-baseline frequency pairs, we can achieve the very small scale biases compared to the IGS 20 reference frame. And we even use this PCO calibrations to determine the static coordinates using, I think we use 2 years of data here. And for the vertical component, for the up component, you can see generally smaller biases compared to the IGS values, and even much smaller compared to the manufacturer's values. So my final summary is that we needed to be careful when we use some arbitrary frequency combinations to determine PPP solutions. So we have to use make an agreement on the calibration of this kind of all frequency PCO values within the IGS community, and to make sure that all of the combination for any arbitrary observables should agree in determining the scale of the reference frame. And in our study, we compared with the existing manufacturer's value. Our PCO estimates significantly reduced the terrestrial reference frame scale biases and improved the interfrequency consistency for arbitrary combinations. And our positioning validations demonstrates that the estimated all-frequency PCO model achieves the best vertical positioning performance among all of the tested models. And you can test this kind of frequency-specific calibration of the PCO for the BDS3 constellation from this online repository. You can just test it to see whether the biases can be caused by this kind of calibration. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.